pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Katie, has everybody logged in?
Yes.
Voting department officials. Action item number 3, I'll look for a motion in a second to approve the village board meeting from February 16th, 2026, and to file the January 14th, 2026 architectural review board, the January 21st, 2026 Parks and Rec board, and also the January 27th, 2026 planning commission minutes as presented.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
Very good. Kevin and Amy, any questions from anyone else? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I'll abstain because I was absent.
I'm sorry.
I'll abstain because I was absent.
Thank you and noted. All right, anyone in the audience wish to be heard on an agenda item or a non-agenda item? All right, seeing and hearing no one, we'll move on to business presented by the president. All information has been presented through usual manner. We'll go to resolution, ordinances, action items, planning commission draft minutes, resolution for Glen Stonewall Farm condominium addendum number 6, phase 7, final plats with conditions. Mark, I think, come on up if we have any questions, but I think this is just the final and last phase to the Glen Stonewall Farm, correct? Correct. And everything passed through the planning commission pretty quickly without any questions or any notice here. Anything you want to add on this?
On this one, to your point, no, there was really no discussion at planning commission level. This is partially under development as it stands, but if you remember back to Hawks Ridge, Hawks Ridge had a lot of kind of conversation around how this process has been working. That is tied to the preliminary plat itself not being fully revised. In this case, we are sort of rubber stamping the final plat because it substantially matches what the preliminary plat was. So this is really kind of how this process should be going. Might point back to that this is somewhat under development. We've been going through kind of the developer's agreement and passing that between planning and engineering. And we're working through any of the conditions that are on here or working through any of the sort of outstanding items related to public utilities that we've been discussing at a staff level. So making sure all that coordination is happening since it was all kind of before my time, before the current engineering and public works staff time. So we're kind of backtracking and back checking on all those things, but no concerns with approving this at this time.
Very good. I'll look for a motion in a second to agree to a resolution conditionally approving the final plat for Glen Stonewall Farms condominiums addendum number 6.
Motion to approve. I'll second it.
Thank you, Andy or Dave. Questions on this? Anyone else? All right, very good. The motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you very much. Well, let's move on to the topic this evening, to approve a memorandum of understanding with Yazaki Central Fire Department for Fire Commission services and authorize the village attorney to make minor changes or amendments to the MOU, not inconsistent with the purpose of the draft MOU presented. So what I'm going to do here is have Mike do a quick presentation on this. I think we've all seen emails today from the president of the Public Safety Committee. I'm sorry, the Grafton Police and Fire Commission. Thank you. And some back and forth did take place, but again, I think just clarification on things. So what I'd like to have is Mike do a presentation here, and then we'll have a motion to bring it to the table for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just by way of high level, the idea is, as I think the board is aware, the OCFD exists, but the employees remain Village of Grafton employees, and we're working on transitioning all the fire department employees over to become OCFD employees. But at the time, currently they are Grafton employees. You know that. You did a memorandum of understanding with the OCFD in 25 and then extended it in for hopefully one more year for this year for them to remain employees. Question, your intergovernmental agreement with the OCFD calls for the creation of a commission that will act like the Police and Fire Commission. And the village would have representation, actually has a slightly heavily weighted representation on that commission. That commission has not yet been created, as you know, and has to get created and get up and running in order to start acting as like the Police and Fire Commission would act. So the question has come up, can the parties agree that the Police and Fire Commission will act sort of as the commission and make all hiring, firing, and disciplinary decisions for fire department employees for 2026. And that's what this MOU in front of you does. It's an agreement between yourself, the Village of Grafton, and OCFD, providing that the Police and Fire Commission will have that authority to make the hiring, firing, and disciplinary decisions. We're hoping not to have any hiring or firing and disciplinary decisions, but we do know we're going to have one hiring decision, and that's Chief Rice, who we know is retiring. So it's becoming somewhat imminent. He'll be out of the department starting mid-month, and at the very least, I think the Police and Fire is going to have to pick a acting chief or an interim chief, whatever the correct term is, to act in while Chief Rice is not around, and then when he officially retires in May, the search for the new chief. So that's the agreement before you. There's some interplay. There's been some back and forth, and there's some interplay between the Police and Fire and the OCFD board. Just so you understand, the Police and Fire Commission selects the candidate. Some of you maybe were on this board when Chief Rice was selected. The Police and Fire Commission selects the candidate, the chief, and then the OCFD board will confirm by way of confirmation is really limited to the economic hiring factors, the wage and benefit plan for the new chief. The selection, the appointment is really made by the Police and Fire under this agreement. This agreement also provides that the OCFD board will give the Police and Fire parameters for the hiring, wage ranges and scope of work and things like that, job employment. Finally, in an effort to get all the members of the OCFD on board, it's an agreement between the village and the OCFD, but it's consented to by all the other member municipalities. You saw at the end, the town of Saukville, the village of Saukville, and the town of Grafton are all being asked to consent to the agreement. And the thought here is, if we're going to vest the Police and Fire, I think that this was something that the chair of the Police and Fire Commission really wanted, and I think it makes sense. If we're going to vest the Police and Fire with this hiring decision, all parties should be on board. We don't want criticism from members who, so we're asking all the member municipalities to agree. We're not going to have the commission under the OCFD agreement do it. We're going to have the Police and Fire Commission make the selection. So that's why the agreement is being circulated amongst all the member municipalities. To my understanding, only the town of Saukville to date has approved the agreement, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know if the village of Saukville or the town of Grafton has acted on it. With that as sort of a backdrop, then you saw some memoranda today from your chair of your Police and Fire, and I won't speak for him, but I think that a lot of his concerns can be easily solved within the agreement that you've got in front of you. For example, there's a section that says the acting chief that's selected by the Police and Fire Commission will be the chief during the term of this MOU during 2026. Well, the chair has, Mr. Moroder has raised the question, well, what if there's some disciplinary action or firing of the chief this year? We're not stripping the Police and Fire Commission of its authority to act if there was a firing. And I would agree with that. That is valid. So hopefully we're not going to hire someone and then and then fire them in 2026. But if that would happen, I would recommend we add language that says, obviously, the Police and Fire Commission would retain its authority to discipline or fire in the year 2026. We're not stripping that authority from the Police and Fire Commission. The other big concern that you heard from Mr. Moroder was that there's sort of this mandatory language that the OCFD board shall provide comments to the PFC before it acts. And I think that was a suggestion made by the attorney for the OCFD to put the burden on the OCFD to provide this information. But if it's a concern, I think that language could be made discretionary, may provide the comments, or we can add language that says, if they don't provide the comments before the PFC makes its appointment, the OCFD waives the right to provide the comments. In other words, the PFC won't wait around all year for the OCFD to give it comments. Those, I think, are simple solutions. I think your administrator's given you an IFC asking you to approve tonight, subject to any changes. And that might be approved by him or I or the two of us, however you want to do it. I think that's a good idea because time is of the essence and we still haven't heard from a couple of communities and there might be other little edits.
So I think just a tad bit of history here. You've been tasked with helping with this MOU based on the meeting of the 4 municipalities and the OCFD suggesting that we legally get something in writing for the OCFD to continue, or for the Grafton Police and Fire Commission legally to continue to do their job that they have been doing, which is hiring. I don't think we fired, but basically hiring and promoting and corrective action if need be. That is what the Grafton Police and Fire Commission has done. So I think we appreciate that, and we, again, this did come from the OCFD approved, because I know I did get comments from several of the board members here that we should get this MOU rolling to the group.
Yeah, various attorneys have reviewed it. As far as I know, I think we're the first one to officially take a look at it. It's my understanding it's on the OCFD agenda on Wednesday.
Okay. So I think that there seem to be 3 options at the table here. Number 1, approve this MOU. Number 2, disapprove this MOU. Or 3, potentially come up with a revision of this MOU at this point in time. Is that our 3 options?
Yeah, I think so. And I think I'd be comfortable or recommending that you approve it with the changes that I talked about tonight. And if you're comfortable with the right to approve it subject contingent upon any other changes being approved by myself or your administrator or the 2 of us, if you're comfortable with that.
Okay, I'll look for a motion to bring this to the table for discussion. Approving the memorandum of understanding with Ozaukee Central Fire Department for Fire Commission services, and authorize the village attorney to make minor changes or amendments to the MOU not inconsistent with the purpose of the draft MOU presented. Motion and second, please.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Andy and Dave, you guys have the first word on this. Andy, I know I did get an email from you, so feel free to speak on your thoughts on this.
Okay, I have a couple of concerns, I guess, that perhaps the village attorney could address for me. With the MOU not being, I'll use the word complete at this point in time, or if we vote here this evening and accept this memorandum of understanding, the other 3 communities have consent to the agreement. What if one of the other communities decides not to consent to the agreement?
Well, it's I think your police and fire chair is uncomfortable moving forward unless all of the communities do consent. I mean, it's a difficult situation. I don't know that the commission that was envisioned under the OCFD agreement is going to be ready to make any decisions. I mean, these are big decisions. You want qualified people making these decisions. And obviously, our police and fire commission has done this. They know what they're doing. They're good at it. So in answer to your question, I don't know if we're at a standstill or
Okay.
where we're at.
But, is it, I guess the question I have is, in your interaction with the other entities' attorneys, the discussion that was at the OCFD board meeting was, essentially, the village of Grafton is really the only one that is in a position to take up this task. The village of Saukville does not have a police and fire commission, and neither do either of the townships.
Obviously.
So being an independent, in order to kind of enact how this has to go with the fire board being in charge of budget and running the fire department, and the commission being the person who picks the employees, without having a fire commission under the OCFD. Because the OCFD currently does not have any employees. As you know, they're all Village of Grafton employees. It kind of makes sense that we do it, but my concern is if there's someone that turns around and says they're not going to consent to this, that kind of puts us back on our heels again.
I'm hearing from all the attorneys that I'm talking to, I'm hearing all positive that they're indicating to me, might be in the for what it's worth column, but they're indicating that their clients are supportive.
Okay. What to you constitutes a minor change to the agreements?
Well, as alluded to in the motion, something that doesn't change the intent of the agreement, you know. I get it. You're giving a fair amount of discretion. The other way to do this would be to postpone or table. And you'll probably have to schedule a special meeting, which can be done.
But my concern about a minor adjustment, it would be, for example, that, say, for example, something between the Village of Grafton and the OCFD attorneys come up, a minor change, a word change, a sentence change comes up, then any of the communities that consented to it have to consent to the change, or are they just, is their consent free reign for the Village of Grafton's Police and Fire Commission and the OCFD to work this out?
I think the Village of Grafton and the OCFD have been carrying the laboring oar on working this out. As your administrator indicated, we're the first, well, I think the town of Saukville did approve.
I think they might have looked at an earlier version.
Yeah.
That's my concern, is if somebody else does something and makes a little change, and then do we have to come back again? And I'll just say, and for what it's worth in that column too, my history, in Janesville, this was the standard language we had in the bottom of all the resolutions for the city manager to make any minor changes or amendments to contracts or other things not inconsistent with the resolution. So you can make minor changes. You don't have to come back for every little thing, as long as it follows the purpose to have an MIU to take care of fire commission services. We can do it. You can come back, certainly. It just, especially with this tight timing on this particular thing, we've already had, I don't even want to guess how many drafts already that have circulated and minor changes have been made. We're hoping we're towards the end, but you don't know.
The town of Saukville approved with that kind of language.
Okay. And then with Mr. Marauder's memorandum that he sent out today, me personally, I'm in favor of keeping the language as simple as possible, as to not indicate that the fire board would have some sort of say in anything that the police and fire commission would forward. Obviously, the fire board is presenting a job description, which we already had a job description for the fire chief, and that perhaps before it goes to the PFC, it may be looked at and revised by the OCFD. But essentially, the OCFD would be providing the job description and a salary, and then the PFC would do its work. There is a section in the agreement that says that the fire board provides consent, and as has been done here with our new village administrator, where we're just going back as a village board saying, yes, we consent to that so that you can move forward with salary negotiation, things like that is the type of consent it is, and because there is no language in that paragraph 3 about the fact of disciplining in the event that be necessary, I am kind of concerned about in the event that something goes south, we've hamstrung them, not from our perspective, but from that individual's perspective that they could turn around and there would be a lawsuit. And I agree.
And that would be language, I agree, that was admittedly an oversight. As I say, we're all hoping we don't have to go there to discipline, but that would be something I would consider to be a minor edit. I mean, here I'm talking about it in front of all of you. I mean, that would be an edit that we could easily make, that we are reserving the PFC's right to discipline or fire in 2026, if that would become necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Herbert. That's all I have.
Thank you. Dave?
Just basically one comment here. I would like to see a revised version of this, as Mr. Marauder has stated here, but my problem is with the shall and may. I mean, making an obligation here, and that should be changed to a right. So changing that shall to may, that's where I would like to see the language change within the MOU. So, either the simple revision or just changing those shalls to may. I mean, that's my input.
A clarification, will that be considered a minor change?
I mean, I think that would fall in the minor change category, and if you want to approve it, subject to that change and to the change that Mr. Schwartz talked about, the reserving the rights, that would be fine.
Okay, very good. Others? Lisa?
Sure. So, all along for all these years, the Police and Fire Commission has worked under the state statute 62.13 for all these years. And they've never had any issues or any problems. And that's basically where we're going with this anyway. We are following the state statute, which is, so to me, all this other information is a lot of extra information that really kind of complicates it. I do think that that's what we need to follow. And so a number of these things that have been included kind of muddy the water to me. I do like that Mr. Marauder presented these options, and to me, it was made clear by all the information. I agree that I think the simplest way would be going path 2 or option 2, which talks about really following the statute and making it simple and easy to understand. I agree with the may and shall issue. I think it's tough when you know, those two words can mean a lot of different things. Shall, to me, has more, you know, you need to do this, and may is, yeah, we'll think about it and we'll take into consideration what you're saying. And you know, the most important thing is what you said, we need to finalize this tonight. And I think so we can get moving on this. And, you know, my choice would be that we kind of amend this, change it a little bit and go with the option 2. I don't personally agree with allowing any minor changes or word changes or things like that. I mean, I think we can even leave that last sentence out, because I think, you know, for those of us who have spoken already, the may, the shall, I just don't want to have something get away on us, the village board, that is, we're authorizing something and then something maybe is changed for another community and we don't know what that is. So I'm in agreement with, for the most part, with the MOU, taking section 3 out and replacing it with the shorter version that Mr. Marauder recommended. That really falls back on the statute. And I don't know that we need to, you know, give any authorization for changes.
Trustee Herbert, if I may ask a question, here, I think that if we replace 3 with reference to 62.13, that would remove all the shalls in may. And
That's
essentially,
right.
yeah, so I think that that's a viable option for us to look at instead of going through and pulling out the shells and mays just to go with the 6213. And I think that's what you're saying, correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's go with Kevin.
I'm just gonna echo what trustee Hardwick was talking about. I do think that path 2 here would be simplifying it. And make sure that we don't have any of this shall or may issues in the future, because we are going with the already prescribed section of statutes for it.
Just to be clear, and I appreciate the comments. I don't feel that the agreement violates 6213. I wouldn't put an agreement in front of you that I thought violated 6213. Some of the language in section 3 was language suggested by Mr. Marauder, the language that calls for the OCFD to provide the wage statement and the scope of work. And it has been heavily vetted by, I guess up to 5 attorneys at this point, but I'll go with however you want to go. Just being aware the time, I guess, is of the essence.
Anything further, Kevin?
No.
Okay, Amy?
I agree that we need to expedite this. I originally was thinking to do what Mr. Marauder suggested with the path 2, but now understanding that that's basically the language that we had in there, it just seems like a moot point. I'm okay with any further edits that you need to do as an attorney. I don't need to see other drafts coming through, so I would be okay with it as is.
Anything else? Sure.
It's refreshing to see, the information that came in from Mr. Moroder, who has served over almost 3 decades, nearly 3 decades with our Police and Fire Commission. His foresight to be able to see some of the, possible legal run-ins that we could possibly bump into with, a lack of verbiage is, I'm thankful that he caught some of that, so that's much appreciated. And when it comes to covering ourselves, right, from a legality standpoint, better safe than sorry. So for me, it was a concern with the shalls versus the mays, as long as we as a village make sure that we protect ourselves, because it does come down to us. That's what's most important. And as long as that we are able to make changes, like the verbiage that we're talking about, in order to protect the village, that to me is what's important, and doing it also in a timely manner. So however we can do that today as a board, I think is most important.
Okay, trying to pull some consensus here. I think we all agree that we need to do something tonight. I think we all agree that we need to pass something tonight. Am I correct in that? Okay, very good. So I think that I think that we have some discussion about 6213 in item number 3, that we basically reference 6213 as a simplistic way of doing that. Do we have consensus on that? Lisa?
Do you mean,
Just referencing 6213 as part of number 3, that we would be compliant with us with 6213 that removes.
I agree that 6213 is important. I don't like all of the other language within it.
Right.
And then after you speak with everybody else, I just wanted to ask one more question.
Okay, so are we in agreement that we want to have 6213 be the main part of this and remove most of the, what I think some may consider superfluous language in there, the shalls and the may? Okay, the other question is, do we have consensus here that we would allow our attorney to work to make minor changes to this? Minor changes being defined as verbiage, shalls, mays.
Well, the motion is
I'm trying to get some consensus here, but
language that doesn't change the intent of I believe that was the language of the motion, doesn't
Okay.
change the intent of the agreement.
all right, so are we in agreement that that might go, I want to get everybody in here. Lisa, I know you're probably,
I'm just, it's too gray for me, just saying, to allow you guys to do that, I guess.
keep in mind, this is not our MOU, this is the Ozaki Central Fire Department's MOU, correct? So if they decide that they want to have a change in that information, that would go through their attorney and agreed to by us in protecting our own police and fire commission, correct?
Oh, okay, sorry. I mean, the agreement is with the Village of Grafton, not with the police and fire commission.
Okay. Okay, so Lisa, you would be against any minor changes, verbiage, minor changes?
Yes, I would, because I feel like we've already discussed everything tonight that we want changed. So I wouldn't want anything else that we haven't discussed to be changed without the board knowing.
Okay, very good. Andy,
I would seek the complete replacement of, number 3 with Mr. Marauder's suggested language to eliminate a lot of the things that are in there. And then I would also be agreeable to allowing the village attorney to negotiate things that are not inconsistent with the purpose of the.
and that's what I kind of want to get everybody to understand here as we establish consensus. It appears that 62, reference to 6213 is consensus here. Now, I think I want to be able to find out on allowing our attorney to work in the benefit of the Village of Grafton to make changes along with the OCFD. Did I say that right, Paul? Or Mike?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand I'm not exactly sure what the suggestion is for the replacement of section 3. And maybe Mr. Marauder can explain it.
Paul, would you care to come up and speak to this?
Oh, thank you.
So what I'd really like to get this to
You'll
is,
allow me to make comments besides just answering your question. Could I make some comments?
I'm sorry, Paul.
Could I make some comments other than just answering your question?
The first thing I'd like to be able to do is your pathway to that you spoke about. If we enact that pathway to, does that take care of most of the issues that are concerning for the Grafton Police and Fire Commission?
So you're asking me what my opinion on which one I would go with as far as the 3 that I suggested to you?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. Thank you. I suggested those 3 because I think they're the most viable. Okay. The first thing I want to say is that I appreciate what we're trying to do here to help the fire department. I've had discussions with Chief Rice. I can't say enough about, working with him over all these years. This is hard to do. I want the best for the fire department. But right now, our responsibility is the Village of Grafton. For 30 years, I've been doing this, and we've never had something like this happen. I've been working 10 to 14 hours a day for the last 2 weeks, coming up with rules of procedure, how we get through the IMA for the fire commission if this doesn't work out tonight. Because I'm concerned about what happens with the fire department. But I have to separate myself and say that this is the Village of Grafton I'm working for in this case, and I want to see the best thing done for them. And I don't want the commission handcuffed in what we can and can't do going forward. There are already problems that exist because of the IMA that was signed. I don't know if you could say it publicly, but even if we're given the duties of the commission to work the services for the fire board, if 3 to 4 weeks from now, the chief, the interim chief comes to me and says, we have to have a hearing. Or let's say something happens with the chief where he's going to be suspended. The only one that can suspend a chief is the commission itself, which never wants to do that because it can get in the way of due process. So the only one that can do that is the executive authority, which in the case of a joint commission should be the board president. It could be your president, could be a chairperson from one of the communities, but it can only be one person. So the IMA didn't ever discuss that. And so literally nothing could be done to take that chief out of a situation where he could be causing harm to all 4 communities. Right? So I suggested these 3 things that I thought were the best options for you. And you said I could give my opinion, I will. I came with 1, 2, and 3, and after today, working with the attorney and knowing what's going on here, I would not suggest you go with number 1 at all. So 2 handcuffs the attorney's going forward, because basically it's saying, this is what we're giving you. They're gonna do their job. I'm confident we can do the job. There's no doubt in my mind. And I wanna do it right, and I wanna help the fire department. The problem is that I see is, and I don't mean this the wrong way, but I don't think you guys get it. Hate to say that, but you guys are the ones holding the cards here. And when they say, oh, we'd like to change, maybe change the verbiage here or whatever, minor or whatever, that means the last community that signs that piece of paper or signs off on it holds cards. You are the ones that are supposed to hold the cards. I cannot for the life of me believe that you guys are the first one looking at this when they're coming to you and saying, can we use our services? You're the ones that are holding the cards, and you should be looking at what at the last one's looking at going, okay, do we agree with what these other communities want? That's how it should be. I know you're in a hurry too. I'm in a hurry. That's where mistakes are made.
So Paul, to ask you that, I'm going to restate the question again, or state the question again. Are you in agreement with pathway 2 would be this, would be a good start here and moving forward? And basically the section option simple and expedient, replace section 3 with a single clean paragraph that delegates the commission's duties by referencing state statute 6213, Wisconsin statute, and says nothing more.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what I think we're headed towards. Am I correct on that as a board? So you care to add, and again, with the executive, the decision that you're getting into with the executive, if you need to have an executive on the Ozaki Central Fire Department, that needs to be determined by the OCFD, not by us, because we're basically looking at, again, as you say, protecting ourselves and setting up something that works for you that's legal by state statute.
They're coming to you, yes.
Work for you? Anything else you care to add?
Yeah, if you don't mind. I've been working on this thing. I've been at this level where I'm doing this thing, and for whatever reason on the way over here, I realized this is a slap in the face to the commission with all this verbiage in there. Because what it's doing is saying we don't trust you. I think you know what I'm telling.
Well,
Again, I apologize to the fire department.
thank you. I would urge you not to take this as a slap in the face. I would urge you to take this as the ability to forge through a very difficult situation. So where we're at right now, after hearing that, we have 6213 as simplified language. As far as last step here, as I see it, again, I may be wrong, is being able to say, do we have consensus here in allowing our attorney to make changes to minor changes to this? Kevin?
This is a tough one, and I know we need to get this out quickly, which is one of my concerns about this is that, again, we are doing this quick and fast and unfortunately a little bit dirty. I can't say that I'm okay with with authorization of the village attorney to make changes.
Very good. Sarah?
No.
Okay, Dave?
I would say yes, let him make the change.
Amy?
Yes,
I've already expressed.
Okay, and you're in no. You have one more thing you want to add. So I have to open it up to everybody else, but you're still in no. Great. Go ahead and we'll work.
No, I just want to clarify. It sounds like, you have, confirmed that we would add the state statute in place of number 3.
Mhm.
And so, of course, that would be part of the motion.
Right. So that's why we have to have consensus here, then have a motion, have a second, and a vote on. That's where we're headed to. Okay. So,
Mr. President, could I just,
I'm sorry,
could I say what I'm hearing, just to make sure we're all of one mind? What I'm hearing is you would just include only the first sentence of the section 3 that of the agreement that was circulated. PFC shall provide temporary duties of chief appointments, establishment of eligibility lists, and approvals of appointments and disciplinary actions under and to the extent described in section 62.13 with stats that would otherwise be performed by the OCFD Fire Commission during the term of this MOU agreement on an as-needed basis for the OCFD.
instead of three.
Would we add the additional two, Mike?
One addition.
So there's more of that under path number 2 that Mr. Moroder gave us?
Yeah, so.
Are we still on pathway to Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you continue on with the, after that, that continues in the paragraph. Such actions shall include but are not limited to the appointment of an acting chief and or interim chief as necessary in the hiring process and appointment of a new permanent fire chief of the OCFD. The PFC shall exercise all such authority in accordance with 6213 with stats, which shall control in all respects.
Yes, yes.
Motion
Thank you.
on that,
I'll have to.
motion,
I'll make the motion.
second,
I'll second.
motion second.
Hang on.
Wait.
Point of order. We already have a motion on the floor about 6B with red, and I made the motion to accept that, so we would.
That was with discussion.
That, I was under the impression.
No.
The motion for accept.
That was for discussion.
No. That was a motion to bring it to the table to discuss.
Discuss,
So we need to make a new motion.
modify or defeat that one.
Correct. So we have a motion here.
Or did the motion, okay, did the motion in the second, take that as a friendly amendment?
Okay,
Change that? Is that
Yeah.
okay with the motion during the second to change your motion to be what was just stated?
6213.
That is correct, but now here's the rub. So are we adding the language on the end of it that says the village attorney may make minor adjustments to the amendment not inconsistent with.
That was consensus.
That,
That is
Okay.
consensus.
okay, so I will restate my motion to include the language of replacing paragraph 3 with the language in path 2 that Mr. Moroder suggested. And then continuing on with the village attorney may make minor changes or adjustments as stated in the previous motion.
Motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. The next item, village administrators report.
That's much to add. I'll just say, just meeting more and more people, administrators in the area and others, and Gabe, our community development director, starts in 2 weeks, so excited for that. That's all.
Very good, thank you. All right, I'll look for a motion and a second to approve the village expenditures for $266,811.24.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved. I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Yes.